What's going on, people? Through the power of fiber optic, I'm AFlyingModem, casual gamer and likes to play competitively. What you're going to be watching in the background is some more Battlefield 4 gameplay. This is the last part to that gameplay I was telling y'all about. Won't spoil the ending, but I hope y'all enjoy the gameplay. Now, what we're going to be talking about is the console conspiracy, what I like to call the console conspiracy. Now, I don't know how many of y'all care about specs or how many of y'all actually looked up the specs. And I'm not starting no console war or whatever because I don't really care for any of that. I have no loyalty to anything. I play a game on my laptop, like I told y'all, Lato or whatever. And I like the PS4. You know, if I got the chance to play it, whatever, have one, I would. But I chose Xbox One first. So, you know, that's just where I'm at. Now, with all that being said, when you look up the specs, I don't know how many of y'all looked up the specs again, but when you do, and you compare the specs between the PS4 and the Xbox One, they pretty much have the same specs. PS4 just have a different type of RAM, and I believe the GPU has more transistors and so on and so forth. And the Xbox One has a better CPU. It's clocked at a slightly faster rate. Now, that being said, it seems like for these consoles to have so much like the similar specs, and it's like really similar, it's like Sony and Microsoft was in a call like, yo, we're gonna have the same specs or whatever, so we can get the best results for the games and stuff like that, and we can just all code for one type of game and blah blah blah, and it'll just be console specific, you know, with the X, triangle, square buttons and stuff like that. So that being said, when I feel like Sony went behind their back, like instead of DDR3 we want DDR5, or maybe Sony was like, you know what, instead of DDR3, let's do DDR5. And then Microsoft's like, nah, we don't want to do DDR5. Y'all can do DDR5. And they was like, that's not going to be a loss on us. And maybe that's what happened. They skipped out on the DDR5. And, you know, we don't have what Sony has. But that's what I feel like either way is what happened. Because the specs are really similar. The CPU is even the same CPU, just clocked at different speed. That's weird, right? Now, what's really weird to me, and I touched on this in the commentary I did like a long time ago, these current gen consoles, the Xbox One and the PS4, are way, and I do mean way better than the current gen consoles. Oh yeah, it's current gen consoles. What am I talking about? The old gen consoles, the Xbox 360 and the PS3, they, you know, the next step, the Xbox One and the PS4 is way better. It has way better specs. We should be getting way better games. There should be no holding back. It shouldn't be the Xbox One is holding the PS4 back. And the Xbox One may hold the PS4 back a little bit, but the leap from PS3 to PS4 and 360 to Xbox One, it should be huge. We should be getting crazy games right now. But a lot of people are saying they're coding for, you know, the old gen and current gen, and it's holding the current gen back, which I kind of believe, because when you look at the next gen only games, they excel. They look graphically great, the frame rates are pretty good, and the resolution is really high, and so on and so forth. Now, Call of Duty has always, for the most part, have done 720p 60 frames per second, right? And I was on the 360. The 360 only have 512 megabytes of RAM. The Xbox One has 8 gigs of RAM. That's 7.5 more RAM than the 360. 360 only had a tri-core CPU. The Xbox One has an 8-core CPU. Now, again, the Xbox One can do 1080p 60 frames per second. There's no reason why the Xbox One can't do 1080p 60 frames per second. These developers need to step up their game. Whatever it is they're not doing, they need to start doing. And that's for PS4 and Xbox One, for real. Because we're not getting what we should be getting. The games don't match the hardware. Okay, if we put a 360 game on the Xbox One, we wouldn't even be using half of the specs for Xbox One. Think about that. 360 only had a 3-core CPU and 512 megabytes of RAM, right? We wouldn't even be using half of the Xbox One's hardware. So why aren't we getting better games? It makes no sense. And that's what I call the console conspiracy. So let me know how you feel about it in the comment section below. It's been AFlyingModem. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'll catch y'all later.